We're listening for questions that people ask Jesus. So far we've heard two from John the Baptist, and both of his questions communicated that Jesus wasn't revolutionary enough. Today we encounter a series of questions indicating something else, that cozy familiarity with the status quo can inhibit reception of Jesus as well. Jesus discovered this in his hometown. We read it together from Matthew 13, verses 53 through 58. When Jesus had finished these parables, he moved on from there. Coming to his hometown, he began teaching the people in their synagogue, and they were amazed. "Where did this man get this wisdom and these miraculous powers?" they asked. "Isn't this the carpenter's son? Isn't his mother's name Mary? And aren't his brothers James, Joseph, Simon, and Judas? Aren't all his sisters with us? Where then did this man get all these things?" And they took offense at him. But Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own town and in his own home." And he did not do many miracles there because of their lack of faith. As far the reading of God's word.
If you followed the NCAA tournament the last couple of weeks, you've probably noticed that Michelob has brought back into one of their commercials the old theme song from Cheers, and you could probably sing it with me. "Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name." That one, do you remember that one? "And everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came." They're always glad you came, right? And sometimes you just want to be where all the troubles are the same and everybody knows your name. Let's admit it, even if we have no desire to enter a certain bar in Boston or to join an intense exercise club like the one in the commercial, there's something about that song that resonates with us. We like to be known, we like to be recognized, we like to be gladly welcomed. And if you've been away for a while and you come back, it's always good to come back and have people really excited to see you again. So we're a bit surprised and maybe a little disappointed and frustrated about how this passage develops and what actually happens here. Jesus has been out and about. He's been preaching. He's been teaching. He's been doing these miracles. And everywhere he goes, he creates a buzz. People are amazed by what he says. He performs miracles that if this happens to you, you tell the story, and this has a way of going viral in an instant. But he comes home, back to Nazareth, back to his hometown, and he begins to teach in, it says, their synagogue, which might be an early hint that he is not, in fact, one of them anymore. But he begins to teach in their synagogue. And at first they are amazed, and then they start asking these questions. Where'd this guy get this wisdom, these miraculous powers? Hey, this is the carpenter's son, right? And his mother's Mary, right? And aren't his brothers James and Joseph and what are those other two? Judas and Simon, right? And his sisters are all here with us, right? And where did this man get these things? And then Matthew writes this, and they took offense at him. Last week, you might remember that we heard a beatitude from Jesus. It was in his message back to John the Baptist, and it went like this. "Blessed is the one who does not stumble on account of me." Jesus goes back to his hometown where people know him, and they take offense at him. It's the same verb as the one from last week. They stumble. Jesus comes home, and they stumble on account of him. We're not told exactly why, but we can put a couple of clues together and make a pretty good guess. And both of these clues hint in the direction that Jesus was a disruptive figure. The first hint of this is the fact that we're told that Jesus taught often in parables. And sometimes we think, oh, parables are these nice, cute stories. They're very memorable, and most of them are. But sometimes Jesus would tell a parable, and he would just tick people off. They didn't want to hear it. He even tells his disciples when they ask, well, why do you teach in parables? He said, well, because the people's hearts are calloused. Maybe meaning that a parable would be the only way to wake people up, or maybe a parable was the only way that he could convey a truth without causing a riot. In any case, we get a sense that Jesus told parables, but they had an edge to them. And the other clue that we get from this passage as to why people took offense at him is he identifies himself as a prophet. And we know that prophets were not often treated well within Israel. They were not received warmly because prophets often called into question the status quo, or what we might say, settled arrangements. Prophets would also often take a read at things and say, this is broken and it needs to be fixed, and oftentimes people didn't want to hear it. That's what Jesus does. He teaches in a way that works on people, and he identifies himself as a prophet. It's always risky business to be a prophet. Yeah, prophets we might think that they kind of run things by the smell test and see if it passes the initial test, and then they might push back on it in some way. So maybe in today's world, you look at a global economic system that results in, and this was just recent, where the stat came out, the 8 richest people in the world, you combine their wealth, and it equals the accumulate combined wealth of the poorest 3.5 billion people. Half of the world's population. So 8 and half of the world's population. And you just say, that's complicated. There's many conversations, many factors into that, but it doesn't seem to pass the smell test. You might, if you really want to, you can also look at the landscape of professional sports and the way that this is sustained, and I speak this as an avid Cubs fan, you know that, but I also admit that the last couple of years, I've had a harder time kind of looking away from some of the economic realities that sustain professional sports, and in this case, professional baseball. So you might get a player that makes $20 million or $22 million or $30 million per season, and we're all kind of aghast at that. And then you do some math, and if you're a starting pitcher and you make that kind of money per year, and you make, say, 32 starts a year, every time you take the ball to start a game, that's about $800,000. Maybe $1 million. It's not a bad day. And then you look at how does that get sustained and supported? Well, you need a lot of people working at the stadium because they got to sell concessions. And if you get hired, you would work part-time, seasonally. And I went online to check. I was curious about this. If you work as a cashier at Wrigley Field, you would make $11 an hour part-time, seasonally, no benefits. Kind of tough to sustain a living on that. And then sometimes you hear management kind of put pressure on a fan base, and even players will do this sometimes. Hey, we need more fans to come. And a lot of the fans that live in the vicinity of some of these stadiums, they don't have money to pay $30 to $50 for a ticket, and then parking, and then to buy food and maybe a souvenir. And it just doesn't pass the smell test that often. So I wrestle with that. And Jesus comes along, and he's a prophet, and he takes the smell test on the social realities of the day, and he says, does this pass or not? And if it doesn't pass, and he calls it into question. And the thing that would really probably get people going too then is Jesus didn't simply simplify it, saying if you're on the wrong end of the scale of these things, then let's just form a populist movement and do something about it. His way was different. It wasn't just about gaining power. It was about, no, we all have to come around this, and we all need to repent. Even if you feel like you're losing right now, you need to repent. Everything gets called into question. Everything gets disrupted. And Jesus comes home, and they know him. He's a known figure in his hometown. And he's one that teaches in parables. He identifies as a prophet, and they take offense at him. They stumble over him. He's not welcome there. And this lack of a reception in his hometown has a way of reminding us of something that we know quite well, and sometimes it's just helpful to point it out. It's that the status quo has a pull to itself, and it likes to maintain its current state. So Jesus comes along, and he voices something differently, and they don't want it. We know this experientially. If you have a new idea you've been thinking about and you want to develop this and share this with your family, you might say something like, hey, I've been chewing on this for a while, and I recognize that a lot of the times when we go somewhere, we might go a block or two away, maybe a mile, half a mile, but we drive everywhere, and I've been thinking about if we walked to these places or took our bikes, we would save gas. We'd save wear and tear in our vehicle. So what do you think? I'm really excited about this. What do you think? And if you shared that with your family, you might hear a response that says something like, well, that's a great idea. Most likely, and at least initially, you're probably going to hear something like, well, I don't know about that. I mean, we've never done it that way before. Have you been reading those lefties again? This just seems like that's not something that we're going to do. And you might not get the reception that you wanted. Jesus doesn't even get a, well, wait, we'll see about this. Comes home, initially surprised, quickly write him off, and they stumble. He is not welcome. And at first this raises something of an awkward, uncomfortable question. Excuse me. Are there things of the status quo in our world as they are that have a pull on us and maybe work on us in such a way that we are reluctant to embrace in totality the newness of what Jesus is offering in his person, in his teaching, through his life? I'm reading through a devotional this Lent, and there's a couple of quotes in there that I think push at this. So this is the coolest thing I did this morning. Eliana thought that was nice. You want to see that? Jesus affirmed that it is possible to be in the world in a new way, to be present to the people and problems around us with some newness and freshness. So that's nice. And then imagine moving beyond treasured past, moving beyond present tense arrangements to new God-given prospects. That's nice, right? That's inviting. Hey, there's a lot of problems in this world. We can step into this in a new, in a fresh way. We can address problems in a way that haven't been addressed before and bring life to situations where there was no life. And yet we recognize as soon as we say that there is such a pull, the status quo has such a pull on us that it's often difficult to leave, to step out into the new place, to address things in a fresh and in a new way. We think about something even as we're speaking, and I'm speaking now, and we're speakers, it's much harder to listen. To sit back, step back, to listen. Maybe the status quo is certainty. We know this to be true. Stepping out of the status quo involves some curiosity, but it's difficult sometimes to develop that curiosity because it's much easier just to be certain about something. So can you leave? It's very difficult to leave, but Jesus leaves. Notice what he says. A prophet is not without honor, except in his own town and in his own home. That's a nice little statement. Maybe it's kind of a truism or something of a proverb, but we need to hear, I think, what Jesus is saying here. He comes home, he teaches, he's rejected, they write him off, and he comes back and he says, well, you want to dismiss me? This is who I am. I'm a prophet. You want to define me? I'm the carpenter's son, I'm Mary's son, I'm the brother to these guys, I'm the sister to these guys. You want to dismiss me as such? This is who I am. I'm a prophet. I'm one who listens to God and speaks for God, and you're not going to change me. And we recognize just how difficult that is. We appreciate what Jesus is doing here. We might envision, or maybe we've encountered, responses similar to what Jesus received in his hometown, and maybe sometimes it sounds like this. Well, you're not going to go to the bar with us anymore? Who made you saint? Or why are you going to leave that job? I mean, you're leaving that job because you think following Jesus means doing this job, even though you're going to make a whole lot less money? Why would you do that? Or you're not going to watch this movie with us? Whatever. Loser, right? That's what some people say. Or wait a minute, you believe him now too? You trust Jesus? You're going to follow Jesus? Why would you do that? That makes no sense. It's difficult to leave. We know the pull of the status quo, and here comes Jesus saying, here's a whole new way. Follow me into this. It's difficult, and we see it. That's the really great thing. Lena and I were at a funeral this past week for her great uncle. He was kind of a mover, shaker, leader in the Dowagiac community for some 60 years. Late in life, he comes to acknowledge that Jesus is indeed Savior and Lord, and he makes this known publicly. Leader in the community for 60 years, and he comes out publicly, Jesus is the Savior and the Lord. At his funeral, his young 20-something granddaughter stands up. And she's never been to she said she's never been to a funeral before, so she's never spoken at a funeral before, and she gets up. And several members of the family are not Christians. Several people there connected in the community, they're not Christians. And she stands up and says the same thing that her grandpa said. Jesus is the Savior, and he's the Lord, and I believe that, and I'm committed to him. That's tough. And she stood up and she said she left, in a sense. And this is what Jesus does. He leaves the status quo, that pull that wants to keep him in line with settled arrangement, settled reality. Jesus will not have it. He leaves. And I think in leaving, he enacts even a bit of initial judgment. I'm a prophet, and you can reject me, but that's going to be on you if you don't follow. And we get the sense that it's their loss, and Jesus is willing to leave them with their loss. The concluding part of this passage says that he did not do many miracles there because of their unfaith. Maybe a lack of faith, but it's really unfaith. They had no faith. And some people will say, well, he wasn't able to do miracles. There wasn't faith there to activate his power. I'm not sure that's quite right. Somebody else says, Jesus is not going to give them what they don't want. And I think that's closer to it. He comes, he teaches, they write him off, they reject him. And there's a sense in which Jesus will simply not force himself upon the community, and he lets them be, and he will leave them, even though he comes with all of his presence and all of his power to enact new life in the midst of where they are. But he leaves them because they will not receive him. And all of this becomes so sobering, and we don't like the thought of it because it's uncomfortable. And we think of the song that we open with. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came, and sometimes you just want to be where all the troubles are the same, and isn't that a nice place to be? And Jesus comes to this place, and they will not receive him, and he must leave, like the people of God always. Abram, go, leave your father's house and your country and your people, and go off to where I'm going to show you. Or the Israelites, hey, we're leaving Egypt, and I'm going to go take you to the promised land. We think, of course, how obvious wouldn't that be? Why wouldn't you want to leave Egypt, except they're barely on the other side of the Red Sea, and they say, boy, we had meat there, that was kind of nice. But no, you have to go. And Jesus comes to his disciples and says, hey, follow me, and you're going to leave your boats, and you're going to leave your nets, and you're going to leave your family, and we're going to go. And Jesus calls us to come and to follow. And sometimes we say we're going to follow him to who knows where because we can't see where we're going. And a passage like this helps us recognize that sometimes when we follow, we end up leaving people that we think, I'm not sure I want to leave. We're not sure why they would reject us for following, but it raises the possibility of being rejected, of not being accepted, simply because we would commit ourselves to the one in whom we believe is life, who embodies the truth, who brings possibilities where there have been none before. So we follow. And it's a sobering thing, except for the fact that we recognize he is the way, the truth, and the life. And so we have to leave here today acknowledging two things, because the Nazareth scene is a bit discouraging, but there's two things that we call to mind. And one of them is that a passage like this helps us recognize the significance of the body that is gathered here today and the significance of the body of which we are a part, the larger body of followers of Jesus around the world. It's no surprise, really, when you come to think about it, that that this body is come to be known as a family. Because for a lot of people, they leave families and they follow Jesus, and the church becomes the primary family. Because in some places, people will flat out reject you. And you can't go home, literally. So the church becomes the family. And we recognize that in coming together, at least in the eyes of the world, we are rejected ones. Yet we come together and we realize, hey, wait a minute, we might be rejected in one sense, but we're accepted in a very significant sense, in the ultimate sense. And we come together with that in mind. We follow Jesus. It means leaving the status quo. It means venturing out to places where we're just not sure where this is going to go or how it's going to go, and it's risky and we feel vulnerable, but we come here with this community, with this family, where we encourage each other, and we say, it's tough, and we feel vulnerable, but we're in this together, and we're not going anywhere. If you want to see an interesting way in which this plays out and how Jesus actually initiates the drawing in, go read John 9 later today, and you see this playing out in almost an official sense where this man who was born blind and is healed, he's kicked out, literally thrown out of the synagogue, out of the community, and who comes after him? Jesus. Says, hey, what happened? Well, they kicked me out. Here, you're with me. The church is the gathering by Jesus into this community of all who have left the status quo, but have done so because they recognize that in Jesus is the embodiment of life and truth, and so where else are you going to go? So that's the first thing. And the second thing is that we recognize, despite the challenges of the reality of this passage, despite the vulnerability that comes with following Jesus, we've recently said we're still all in on this. And in a sense, we've doubled down on it. So about a year ago, we had started a conversation about, well, what would it look like if we were to hire another staff person, part-time? But let's think about a couple of realities here. What if we hired somebody to help us keep in line and fellowship and communication with Good Sam and Holland Rescue Mission, so that as a congregation we're alert to what God is doing in these agencies through them, and maybe even participate in some ways with what God is doing through these agencies? And what if we hired somebody that they were going to be attentive to helping us develop a culture of mentoring and discipling within the congregation, with those that we're in contact with outside the congregation, because we're so committed to understanding what it is that Jesus is teaching and how do we put that into practice. So we carried on that conversation for several months in council. That conversation was brought to the congregation. We wrestled with that. We adapted. We changed a few things. And in the end, we said, we're going to do this. We're going to hire somebody. And in time, it became clear that Tammy was the person whom God was leading and calling to fill this position. So today, we get to acknowledge this together. We get to give thanks to God. We get to affirm Tammy in this. And as we do so, we recognize that we have again said, yes, Jesus, we are following you, and we're going to go where you're leading us, and we're not sure where that's going to go, and we recognize that that means leaving all sorts of other places, and maybe we embrace some vulnerability in doing so. But you're the way, the truth, and the life, so we're going to be right behind you. So we're going to invite Tammy forward at this time, and we're going to just hear a brief affirmation from Tammy, and then we'll invite some folks forward, and we'll pray over her, and then we'll sing together. But so this conversation developed with Tammy it was just really great as we spoke with her and heard from her why she wanted to do this, and a couple of things became really apparent. One, she really loves God and is devoted to Jesus Christ, so that was transparent and obvious. A second thing that became clear is that she loves the people of Maranatha, and she's committed to the mission of Maranatha and is excited about that. And the third thing that became really clear is that she loves not only God and not only Maranatha, but people in the community. And she's really compassionate and sensitive to the needs. And as we talked with Tammy, we could tell that she was wrestling with this a bit. And everybody that was talking with her was like, nah, she's the one because of these things. And in the end, she said, no, I'm going to do this. So we're really grateful to Tammy, to God, for bringing us to this point. And we want to do this, we'll give a brief sense of that, what Tammy's already said. So 2 questions. One, Tammy, do you commit to continue following after Jesus as a person and understanding his teaching and putting that into practice as you take on this role? And then second, in this role, do you pledge to conduct yourself in a way of honor and that's befitting to the task that you are taking on?
I will, God helping me.
So I will, God helping me. Most of you could hear that, some couldn't. So we want to affirm Tammy and to encourage her of our support at this time. So one of the ways we can do that is by praying over her. So I suspect her family is going to want to come up for this, but others, whoever wants to come up, I don't know if the whole congregation wants to come up, that's fine. We'll figure out a way to make this happen. But whoever wants to come forward, we're going to pray over Tammy, and we'll have a prayer for the congregation as well in this time. So if you would come forward at this time, Tammy, maybe you step up here a little bit. And I thought it might get crowded up here. That's a good thing. All right. Well, let's pray. Lord Jesus, you call us to come and to follow. And in doing so, you present the offer of life. Last week we thought about life even in the midst of wilderness and barren places. And so we're so grateful that we know you, that you have come in obedience to the Father, and that we can know you. And today we remember that sometimes following you means that we leave. We leave the status quo where things have been accepted, they're unchallenged, they're unquestioned. And leaving is very, very difficult. But we see that you left. You remained committed to your Father and the calling that was placed on you. And so we pray that you would give us the courage and conviction to stay walking after you, committed to doing the things that you've taught us to do. And today we want to pray for your blessing on Tammy. And we thank you for the wrestling she engaged with over this possibility. We thank you for the discernment she's engaged in prayer with Mark, and with Nicole and Anna and Seth and Luke. We thank you for their support for her in this. And we pray that you would bless her as she takes on this new role. In some ways, it's a bit like following Jesus. We got a sense for the direction forward, but a lot of the details are a bit fuzzy at this point. So we pray that you would guide her, and that she would know that you are leading her. We pray that through her work that you would continue to bless the ministry of this congregation. We do desire to follow you, Jesus. We want to make your name known. We want to live as your faithful people. And we pray that the work Tammy does would facilitate these desires of ours and help us to put that into practice. So we pray for your blessing on her. We pray for your blessing on us. We pray for your blessing on her family. And we pray that through all of this, Lord Jesus, that you would be honored and glorified. And we pray this in your name. Amen. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for coming up. Tammy, we wish you God's richest blessing in this. And we get to sing. And our song is going to affirm the fact that Jesus is who he says he is. The hometown